When you study Dr. King, you don't just study Dr. King. You study what did his disciples do after Dr. King died. You can't study Dr. King without studying Jesse Jackson. You can't study Dr. King without studying his best friend in Alabama. That show you I'm rusty on Dr. King. I'm more on Jesus now. You can't study Dr. King without studying his buddy who was in Alabama. You can't study Dr. King without studying John Lewis. Because you learn about the character by looking at what his disciples. If I want to learn about Spencer, I look at his children. Because his children are a reflection of what Spencer believes. Amen. So if you want to study the teacher, you also have to study the students.
Amen.
So I study the epistles to learn about the aftermath of Jesus Christ. Amen. What did the early students believe? If I want to know what the teacher believed, then I should also study what the early students believed. Because I don't want to be Tony anymore. And that's where it basically comes down to with this church. Y'all still want to be you. And you, if you really are honest with yourself, if you want to keep it 100, you made a mess of your life. Tony Harris made a mess of his life. I don't want to be Tony no more. Tony sucks. Jesus is awesome.
Yes.
I want to be like the Lord.
Yes.
Amen. So I study the script. Next slide, Brother Bishop. Another way that I become like Jesus is I can't just study a script. You know, when someone is playing a role, you know, Dice Man, when he used to play Dice Man, he would go and start smoking a cigarette, and then he wears these weightlifting gloves, and he puts on this ridiculous leather attire like an Italian dude would in New Jersey or New York, because he's getting into the role. Jesus, the night before he was assassinated, he goes and he takes his robe off. And he puts on a towel, and he gets on his knees, and he washes the feet of his disciples. If you're not serving people, you can't be like Jesus. You have to get into character. You have to serve others. And when you serve others, you are being like Christ. You are being like. But you know what's sad with a lot of Christians? They want to serve, but they don't want the script. And then there's others who want the script, but they don't want to serve. If you want to be like Christ, you have to serve with the script in mind. Amen. Because here's the thing. Can you imagine if you're washing someone's feet, and as you're washing someone's feet, you're telling them your words? You know, because if you're talking your words to people, your words are not redemptive. The old Tony, you know, to be honest, let me be honest with you. And I learned this is hard. Let me keep it real. You know, when you go into someone's deathbed and they're dying, the real Tony, you know, if I'm not careful, the real Tony be like, yeah, it looked bad. It looked real bad. It looked bad. Because that's what my flesh is seeing. Amen. So I can serve someone, but if I serve someone and I use my words, I'm going to hurt somebody. Because my words, Tony Harris's words, are like, wow, Patty, you look really bad right now. Because I'm going to be overwhelmed by what I see. I can't serve with my words. Because you can actually do something and you're doing something nice, you know, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. I'm visiting Patty and she's got chemo. You got to picture Patty with no hair and her feet are bruised and bloody from the chemo because chemo burns the skin. And me and Kim are in her room and rubbing her feet with medication to make her feel better. If I talk with my words, even though I'm doing something sweet, I can ruin the moment. Because my words are not holy. I have to study his words. So I say what he wants me to say. But there's other people who they study the words, but they never end up going to the hospital. They never end up helping anybody. They're just people who are in the classroom who have said, oh, wow, This is what it means in Greek. Oh, this is what it means in Hebrew. And they're all, I learned in college one time from this person who was teaching me about something. And then it was like during a break, and I began to ask this person, this professor, about their life. And they had never left the campus atmosphere. They had never gone out. They were teaching on the subject, but they had never, they went from a PhD to a teaching assistant, from a teaching assistant to a professor, and never had real world experience on the subject. And I began to think, all right, that's why we're not connecting. Because you're teaching on something that you only intellectually know, that you never put into practice. Amen? It's just like if someone was teaching auto mechanics and they ain't never worked in a mechanic shop. But they only know that, oh, this is what the carburetor does, this is what the battery does. But here's the thing, let me tell you this. Brother Tony's not handy with his hands, but I know all that stuff. I know what the different parts of the engine do. But let me put it this way. You put me and give me a wrench and tell me to get them screws loose and give me all. No. It's a whole different world then. It's a whole different world. Because you got to be able to get that stuff off without breaking it and putting it back without breaking it.
Yes, sir.
And you need experience. Amen. You need sweat equity. You need some elbow grease behind it to know how it actually works in reality.
Yes.
Same thing is true with Jesus. You can study the Bible all you want. You got to get out there with people.
Yes.
And without that, you can't say that you're even trying to be Christ-like. Next slide. Let me close with this. Today, as you leave here, who will you be? Who will you be? Are you going to keep it real? Who are you going to be? All I have to share with you is this. In Romans, it says, all of creation, it doesn't say it exactly like this, but it says it in the paraphrase. It's in Romans chapter 8, I believe, but I can correct it at a later time. It says, all of creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Amen. Everyone in your circle is waiting on you for you to become Jesus in their life. Who will you be today? Can we all bow our heads?